In today's episode, we're speaking to Charles Zerafa. Charles is a finance broker, a business and corporate finance specialist. With over 25 years of experience in business and corporate banking, Charles Zerafa is a seasoned finance broker renowned for his ability to tailor finance solutions to meet the unique needs of each client. His career has spanned across various roles as a relationship manager, finance analyst, amassing a remarkable track record of handling lending applications exceeding 1.0 billion, encompassing diverse industries from small businesses to multinational corporations. Let's speak to Charles and find out how he changed his life by changing his mindset. Let's find out. Welcome. This is Gull, your money mindset expert. And today I'm so excited. We have the wonderful Charles Zerafa. Welcome, Charles.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. You're joining us all the way across the pond from Australia. So thank you so much for being such an amazing guest and coming to join us. Charles, everyone's heard your intro. They know how wonderful and amazing you are. But please, in your own words, tell everybody what it is that you do.
Yeah, I'm a finance broker in Australia. I focus on commercial finance to business owners. I help them grow their businesses, improve their profitability, and also help them along their wealth journey. So I help them get bigger, and I introduce them to my amazing network of people to help them grow and achieve their goals.
Fabulous. So Charles, talk us through your journey. How did you end up, getting to these accolades and getting to this level at the moment where you are? Did you always want to go into finance, or was it something that's just, the destiny had brought you to?
No. So I studied IT after school, after high school. So and I quickly realised that there were so many people that had grown up with computers, and I was starting from such a long way back that I said they'd already known how to start programming, and I was just so far behind. I realised if I was to be in a room with these guys getting a job interview, I'm unlikely to get a job. So I said, IT was good, and I have always had a fascination with IT, which we'll probably hopefully circle back to today. I quickly realised I wasn't that good at IT, and I just needed work basically. So I started off in the banking system. So I started. The banks were recruiting because they were investing heavily in technology. And they needed people with touch typing skills. They were getting out of the 70s era with the old typewriters and converting into, centralizing and setting up these head offices with a whole group of kids. And I did my own little graduate program in the back office of the banking system, and ended up in business finance. And I've spent most of my career in business finance as either an analyst or a relationship manager. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So how did you come into wealth management and finance and as a broker? How did you come into this field? What led you to go into it, and what makes you so unique? Why do you have a passion for it?
I've always worked with businesses, and I worked my way up from small businesses to lending up to $1 million, then 1 to 5, 1 to 3, 3 to 5. And then 5 to 10, and then you're in corporate banking before you know it. And at the last 11 years of my career, and you learn so many skills, and I learned a lot from all the amazing people that I met along my journey. I was always curious when I was doing the finances about their accountants and who they used, and why did they do things this way and that way. So I partly wanted to learn so I could serve them better and be a better banker. But I was also very curious for my own purposes to say, well, if I ever got the chance, or if I was in that position, can I take advantage of that strategy? Or what I learned from their very best accountants and lawyers, can I use that knowledge to impart on another client and help them with a leg up and head them down a better journey? So the bank's all about decreasing their risk. So they want you to be successful, so you are a less riskier client, and that you continue to grow and continue to borrow. And so when I decided to leave the banking system, I'm basically essentially using the same methodology, but I'm just putting it more into a wealth creation strategy. So it's helping them use debt to actually get further ahead and properly structure their finances and their debts in order to reduce their overall commitments and help them expand and help them, invest in other asset classes and yeah, achieve their goals. So
Okay.
that's how and it's it's working well.
So when did you go actually from being an employee to being self-employed and becoming an employee yourself? When was that transition made and how?
Just before COVID, actually, to be honest. So I had my long service leave, and I said I'm going to take my long service leave. And as I was in the middle of my long service leave, I woke up one day saying, I'm not going back. I just said,
What's long service leave?
oh, sorry. In Australia, we have every 10 years that you're with a company, you get say a couple of 16 weeks or 12 weeks holiday. So
I
it's
didn't
just
know
an
that.
extended holiday. So I took a little break after spending a lot of time. I worked long hours in the bank. Banking is pretty high pressured, and I won't go too far sideways, but I also helped my brother-in-law in his business as well on weekends. So I didn't have much breaks to myself, and I still had a young family, and I was investing in property, and I was being too busy, and I didn't realise how stressed I was. So when I finally had a decent break, I woke up and said, I don't want to go back to this anymore. I think it's time for me to go out on my own. So as I said, I invested in a few properties, and I sold an investment property to give me some freedom to actually build my business the way I need to, without any pressure or financial burdens. And 4 years ago I started, and my original business plan looks much different to the way my business is like today. But you adapt and learn along the way. And
100%.
I joined Integrity Finance, who's a broking house. They specialise in residential lending, but I came on board as the commercial broker, and we started just before COVID. And as COVID hit, we've just I've taken a mantra. I've got a mentor, and I've taken his mantra of just adapting. You just got to adapt in business. You've got to adapt to the market's conditions and to and take advantage of the opportunities that comes your way too.
100%. 100%. I completely
Mm.
agree with that. So moving from there, from being an employee, how long were you an employee before you became your own boss?
About 35 years.
Yes, that's a bloody long time. Now, there's a big transition that happens when you go from being an employee to employer, or potentially self-employed and employing other people. That is a huge transition, which has many people stuck in procrastination for the longest time ever. How did you overcome that? I know you had a time off, you had that long service break, but how did you mentally, emotionally break free from the so-called false security, of the job? How did you break free from it? How did you get yourself around it, especially if you're used to certain kind of income, certain kind of lifestyle with the family as well? How did you break free?
Well, I did some preparation mentally, and I said I know I need to do something. I need to do something. And I looked at partnerships. I spoke to accountants. I've got some good mentors, and I'm a really huge believer in mentors. So for everyone out there that's listening, get a mentor that's experienced in what you want to do, or that's really experienced in business, if that's what you want to do. And I've been lucky enough to have experienced people where it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you reach a certain level in business, you can advise and give other people good advice. So I've had a mentor that basically said, why would you do anything other than what you're good at? So I looked at a business that I was going to buy, and he basically, he just looked at me and said, you're amazing at what you do, and you're underestimating your own abilities. Why would you do anything different why would you go into a different industry where you don't know you're not known in that industry, you don't have any connections, you don't know any suppliers, you're buying an unknown client base. You don't know if they're going to give you respect because you're not in the industry. You're going to lose customers straight away. And he started posing so many real questions, questions that I would ask if I was banking or if I was doing a loan application for someone. He said, put yourself in the shoe, pretend that you're writing the bank approval for your own business purchase and critique it. And I said, wow, that is very wise. And I did that, and I've gone, yeah, it just clicked, and I've just said, no, it's silly for me to change industry and completely at that far into my career. So I basically said I want to do mortgage broking, but I didn't want to do residential only because I'd spent all my life in business. So I said I have to spend it on business, and I didn't understand how to get from one to one, how to get to where I am today. And I just trusted in other people to help guide me, really. I knew enough to get a start, and then I just sort of surrounded myself with people that were willing to, guide me, support me, and encourage me, and just say, keep at it, and keep persisting. COVID's hit, but just this is what you got to do. Adjust your business plan. This is what people need now. So, there was in Australia that we had really heavy lockdowns. So there was some sectors that were struggling really badly, but other sectors thrived. And it was a really strange time in the last couple of years, and everyone's situation has changed though, and that's where I'm really finding myself in a great position now, because everyone over the last few years has gone through a difficult time, and their financial positions changed in some way, shape, or form, and people need assistance with getting more finance. So they're more and more seeking my services now, and I'm getting a lot more known in the industry too, and a good referral networks and things.
So my understanding is using mentors to help guide you and overcome the imposter syndrome, and also seeking the advice in terms of there are other, the shiny penny syndrome. People say, oh, there's something else that's better out there. I know I've been guilty of that in the past, but then I'm also the kind of person who likes a different challenge. I jump from one thing to extreme others, and I either swim or sink. Either way, that's who I am. But I understand, I appreciate the fact that the best way would be to stick to your own industry, and because that's where your expertise and that's where you've made your name for yourself. So I understand that completely, and I respect that. But it's still having that knowledge that you're in the industry, you have the knowledge and you have the contacts. Knowing that is one thing. Actually building a solid business is another thing altogether. They're two different things, and it requires a certain amount of courage to be able to go out there and say, no, actually, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to sink or swim, but I'm going to do or die here. There's no trying here. So the do or die. That you need to have that kind of mindset when you go in. How did you develop that mindset? I understand your mentors played a part, but did you read books, or how did you work on yourself to get that solid mindset?
How can I say? I did look at a few, read some books, and I like listening to other people's stories and success stories. And most people have a similar story where they know where they want to go, but they fall and stumble, or and it takes them a while to sort of, they go down one path and they then work out that doesn't work, and they pivot, or everyone's got their own unique story, and I suppose mine's just as unique as well. I took the leap of faith that I wanted to do this, and I needed to use my skill set to drive. I had to have the belief in myself that people will come to me, not the brand. I was a little bit corporatized, where I was working for, I only worked for 3 institutions in my career, and they were all the 4 major banks in Australia. So I thought that the people came to me because of the brand, and I represented that brand. And I thought, and the biggest fear for me was, are they going to actually come and bank with Charles? Are they going to actually want to call me instead of just calling the Commonwealth Bank and getting Charles on the other end of the phone? So I struggled with that part, and it was just basically a little bit of a leap in faith, and just like I said, listening to the mentors and just believing that, I've always had a lot of gratitude for clients that I've helped, and I've always tried to do the right things by them. And I just basically trusted that if I called upon them to help me, that they would do that in return. Some people did, some people didn't. So, and you just need enough people to sort of back you and believe in you and trust you. And I was grateful that, when I left the bank, I thought a certain amount of clients, he's going to come with me, he'll call me for sure. And others, it didn't work out anything like I expected. I got calls from people that I hadn't spoken to for 12 months or 24 months They Googled my name, and LinkedIn is an amazing tool. They found me straight away, and they just found my phone number and called me and said, "Hi, what are you doing now? Can you help me? I'm still, are you still doing finance?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And so I was getting calls from, in the middle of COVID, I was getting phone calls from people that I hadn't spoken to for ages asking for help. And that was just amazing. That just gave me such a boost of confidence to say, people out there do know my name. I have done the right thing by them. Even if the bank declined a loan, I was always very mindful of expressing it in a certain way to make sure that it's, "Hey, I've tried my hardest for you. Unfortunately, you don't meet bank policy, but I always tried to find a way to give them something." So it's like, I can't give you the $1 million you want. I can only give you 800,000. But hey, what can we do with that 800,000? How do we problem solve that shortfall? So that was always the approach I took, and I always took a lot of care. I always cared for my clients. So, and in this industry, that holds a lot of weight. And the accountants that understand the extent that I go to for my clients, because I care for them and try to workshop. When we do hit a problem, what are we going to do to overcome it is my attitude. It's like, unfortunately, there are certain limitations to what we can do sometimes based on bank policies, or how much security they've got, or how much income they've got, or the financial hurdles or bumps they go through. And you just got to deal with what the situation that you're in, and make the most of it. And it doesn't matter how big a business is or how small it is. It's like, as I said, that whole, you just got to be resilient and just keep moving forward. Don't dwell on the negative, and just keep going forward. And that's what that was the biggest leap of faith for me. That and just having faith that people trusted that I would continue to look after them and provide them with a good level of service. And as I said, I've been grateful for all the people that have supported me along the way.
Absolutely wonderful, wonderful. So I think you said something there which was key. It was the leap of faith. And I'm not, you didn't say this, but I'm assuming that people you expected to call probably didn't, but people you didn't think would call did, because the way I see it is the universe, and I'm very spiritual like that, universe brought the people who needed your help the most to you, and it was a win-win, creating that win-win situation, rather than you expecting, well, X, Y, and Z have done business with me for the next amount of years, for that amount, they'll come to me, and that usually shorts fall. I mean, my experience in a situation like that is, the people you expect to come and do business with you fail to do so, and then out of the blue, the right sort of people do show up, and they're better clients because they're more suited to who you are now as a person, and the other people are suitable to when you were the old version 100%. Of you. So it's how the universe provides in the best way possible for what you need at that time. But you have to take the leap of faith first. This is what I really want to stress, and I want to get people to get this out of your story, that you have a phenomenal story and it's a phenomenal achievement. But before the achievement arrived, before that validation arrived, before that confirmation arrived, the leap of faith had to be taken first. So you had to have the belief and the faith first, take the leap of faith, and then you were rewarded. People want, well, I'll believe it when I see it. It doesn't work that way. You have to do it first. No. Believe it first, do it, and then see it. And I love that. So if we wrap this up and go towards closing this episode, I want you to give me really quickly 5 takeaways that you've experienced moving away from a corporate world into a self-employed finance world. And what would be, if you were advising the old version of you, what would be the 5 pieces of advice that you would say, what I've experienced over the last 4 years, what's the first of it? And also, would you do it sooner rather than later? That's another point.
Definitely would have done it sooner. I definitely would have done it sooner. I should have done this many, many years ago. I would have been a much further advanced and had a better lifestyle if I jumped sooner. But I'll just recap a couple of things. So having a mentor is for me number one. That's just been my experience. It's maybe not as high on someone else's radar, but for my personality type, I needed that support to say, hey, this is, you're not doing anything new that other people haven't done before. Just believe in yourself, and just that encouragement and just and getting you to believe in yourself that you can do it. So mentors are the first thing. Trying to be organised and disciplined, I suppose, is the second one. You really got to grind in the first few years and just basically work, really hard and contact, and you've got to be on top of so many different things. And you've got to sort of learn to adapt and not let the pressure that you're feeling from the phone call that you've just hung up from, when the next phone call rings, you've got to be just as positive. You almost got to adapt, and you can't feel you can't let a customer know that you're that you're experiencing pressure for a customer's settlement on the other, in the same day that they're starting their finance journey with you. So you sort of got to, you got to adjust and adapt. So you're being disciplined, mentor, industry experts is another one. I really found industry experts and the right kind of industry expert too that suits where you're at. I found a lot of like marketing people and business coaches and industry people that were had assumptions on what my skill sets were and what I wanted to achieve. And sometimes some of them were actually too advanced for me. And I'm like, no, I'm not quite at there yet, that point there. So finding people that are relevant to where you're at in your business journey, because you can always upskill you can always upskill accountants. You can always get better marketing people. But don't jump in too quick to go too fast, and just be patient and meet people that are willing to meet you at where you're at in business is my third key. The fourth is relationships. Can I say fourth and fifth?
Yeah.
Fourth and fifth is relationships, and maybe we say relationships with business people, with how can I say, business relationships and external relationships. So if you want to talk about your own life, I actually went on a journey myself, building better relationships with everyone in my life. So I said, I'm not the corporate stressed out banker anymore. I'm an independent business person, and I want to get better relationships with my family and my wider family too, that I have neglected because I've worked so hard for many years. So I reconnected with friends, family, and then industry people, and just sort of changed my life in a lot of ways. And it made me much a happier person. The more happier you are, then the better you are at doing what you want to pursue. So when you find your passion and you surround yourself with great people, you've got a mentor, you're a bit disciplined, and all those things lining up together is an amazing combination.
Fabulous. Absolutely wonderful. So now we're going to wrap up. Charles, tell us, how can we connect with you? Where can we find you on the internet?
LinkedIn is a great tool. I love people to connect with me and love having conversations on LinkedIn with my post and content. CharlesZerafa.com.au is a registered website. You can find my website. But yeah, socially, I'm more active on LinkedIn than my other social media content. So look out for Charles Zerafa at LinkedIn, or I've actually registered Charles Zerafa in Business and Corporate Finance Division is my website. Sorry, is my LinkedIn company page. So connect with those and reach out.
Wonderful. Now, if you're listening to us via podcast, the links for Charles will be in the show notes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, then down below in the description section, we'll have the links for him to check him out, especially if you're down under, if you're in Australia, see how he can support you in building a business. Well, thank you so much, Charles, for having such a fantastic conversation today and being so candid and open with us about your journey. We have to have you back for Money Talkies, but for today, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you for listening to me and Charles today. I will be back with another amazing guest on Friday Feature, finding out how they change their life by changing their mindset. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull signing off. Take care and bye for now.